Grüezi YouTubers, here is the guy with the Swiss accent again. Most of the LCD touch displays are connected to the microcontroller either using parallel connections or a fast SPI. Usually the display routine is the biggest part of the sketch and takes a lot of time to build and to debug. Recently I found an interesting new display concept to be used for Arduino's ESP8266 and other microcontrollers. The Nextion by Iteadstudio.com. This is a series of touch displays which include a controller directly attached to the LCD and which can be connected to any microcontroller via a slow serial communication. And these modules are quite cheap, not much more expensive than a touch display of the same size without this feature. So they should solve many problems. Nice looking user interfaces with pictures as background, smartphone-like touchscreen, real-time reaction to touches without real-time programming on the microcontroller, and 2-pin connection which saves the other pins for our projects. And the setup should be really easy because we can do the design part on the PC with a "what you see is what you get" editor. Sounds great. Let's check it. One drawback at the beginning. Unfortunately, the information for this product is not really good and it took me a while till I was able to use it properly. This is also the reason for this tutorial. First of all, I had to get a display. They offer a big variety of sizes from 2.4 to 7 inches. All should behave exactly the same with the exception of the different resolutions. I ordered only a 3.5-inch version and therefore was not able to test the compatibility of the different sizes. You find the link to my source below in the comments. The display came in a nice box with the necessary cable. The connector just has the 4 pins 5V, ground, RX and TX. Communication speed is 9600 baud. On the back it has a slot for a micro SD card. That's all. To prove that the display has its own controller, I start with a simple demo to show you the principle. The link for the demo file is also in the comments. First we have to download and install the Nextion editor on our PC. The data files for the editor have the ending .hmi. We open the demo file and as a first action we have to choose the display type we want to program. Do not forget to choose also the orientation, horizontal in this case. Now we see the first page on the PC screen. On the right side we see that this HMI files contains 7 different pages from home to touch area. On the left bottom we see our resources, pictures and fonts. And on the left top we see the different tools we can use to create our display. Now let's check out our display first. We compile the file and start the debugger. With this debugger we can simulate the future behavior of the display on the PC screen. Very comfortable. Now let's go to the page Gauges. Here we have 2 gauges and 2 buttons. Pressing these small buttons with a mouse pointer is easy. But on a 3.5-inch display with a finger this will be impossible. This is why we want to make them bigger. To do so, we stop the simulator and go to the page Gauges. Here we either drag and drop the buttons or we enter the respective values in the attribute field. We see an immediate reaction and can adjust till the buttons fit our needs. Just imagine this process if you would program your own design on a thumb display with an Arduino. This would be very time consuming. Now our buttons are better and we compile and run the simulator again. We can select the different pages and press the bigger knobs. Everything okay. As a next step, we want to get the same result on the LCD display itself. To do so, we need a micro SD card and a card reader writer on our PC. I use a 16 GB card, but I tried also a 32 GB card. Both work fine. We close the simulator again and open the build folder. Here we find the TFT file with the same name than the HMI file. This file has to be copied to the SD card. Pay attention that you delete all other files. The SD card must only have one TFT file on it and nothing else. Now we insert the SD card into the Nextion display. Nothing happens until you power cycle the display. As soon as the 5 volts are back, the display starts to convert the TFT file and to store it on the display itself. After this work is done, again, nothing happens until you power cycle the board again. Do not forget to take the SD card out before you do so. Otherwise, you will end up in a conversion cycle again. From now on, you do not need the SD card until you want to change the display's content in the future. Without the SD card, the display really starts with displaying page 0 and you can go through the same pages like in the simulation. You see also our bigger buttons on the gorgeous page. Be aware that we do not need any microcontroller board to do so, just the display board. And the bigger data rates are transferred just from the controller to the LCD. This is nice, but more or less useless for my purpose, because I want to use it with an ESP8266 or an Arduino. So let's connect it to the microcontroller. To do that, we use a simple scenario to start with. We want a slider where the slider position is read by the microcontroller and its value displayed on the display. To do that, we need to install the Nextion library for Arduino and search for the example comp slider. We find the HMI file for the editor in the libraries folder. If you do not know the path to this folder, just go to Preferences. Here you find the path to your Arduino folder. Add /libraries and you should find the Nextion library folder. It is the one with the newest date. Click on the HMI file, select your board and compile the file. Now we can start our simulation. If you slide the slider with your mouse, the number does not change. Why? The number does not change because a connected microcontroller should do this change. And for the moment, there is no microcontroller connected to our simulator. But we can emulate the microcontroller by typing the command t0.txt equals 60 into the instruction input area. After hitting return, the display shows the number 60. By the way, T0 was the name of the text field. If we move the slider, you see some text appearing on the bottom of the simulator. This text shows the data the Nextion module will send to our microcontroller when we move the slider. But where is this coming from? We close the simulator again and select the slider object. It has the name H0. If you go to the rider Touch Release event, you see that the Send component ID is selected. This defines that a message will be sent via the serial connection when you release the slider. If you uncheck it and run the debugger again, no text will be produced. We are now ready to load our new file to the SD card and afterwards to the Nextion display. We use the same principle as shown before. The name of the file is compslider.tft. For the moment I use an Arduino Mega for this tutorial because it has 2 serial connections. The Nextion display is connected to serial 2 and we enable debug messages at the normal serial connection. If we compile and run the example comp slider, the display works as expected. If we slide the slider, the number is changed accordingly. If we watch the serial connection, we see that the Arduino gets the values of the slider and we can do something with it. For example, we can check if the value is above 60 and then remind the user that it is hot. Many other examples come with a library which show you how to use this marvelous display. I enclose also the link to another library for the Nextion and a few links to examples that you get an impression of its possibilities. I plan to make a second video where I will show you how to create your own display and maybe some other nice features of these displays. Thank you for watching. I hope this video was useful or at least interesting for you. Bye!